Real as it gets, episode 10. I'm your host, Callum Hickey, if you don't know that by now. And today I have on me with me, Jason Carl Fox. What's the crack, Jay?
The full name gets banged out there.
Well, I call you Foxy. Everyone at Manor calls you Foxy.
You can call me what you want. So I've got a weird thing with my name. Well, I haven't got a weird thing, other people do. Like some people, I introduce myself as Foxy because that's what I've been known as for years, ever since I was a kid. I was known as Foxy when I was in the military, but now, since I've been outside the military, if I introduce myself as Foxy to some guys, you can see that they get uncomfortable.
Why?
I don't know. I think they just get
uncomfortable. You've got a better nickname than them.
No, it's not. I think it's because I don't think they like calling another bloke Foxy. I mean, it'd be different if it was a girl, but.
Right, let's say how we know each other first, and then I'd love to go back into your background in military and everything. But how we know each other is that you saw me at Manor and you said to everyone that you couldn't wait to be my best friend or something like that. Is that true?
I was like watching you, I was like, wow, he's fucking strong.
Yeah.
It's through the Manor though.
Yeah, it was through Manor. Tell me how because when I come on, you was already there. And you was knocking out your fucking 6 a.m. sessions, going crazy with it. And I had just seen you floating around at the time.
So how did I get involved with Manor? I got to meet Charlie Watts a long time ago when he had just set up the gym, which was then known as Work It.
Yeah.
So
it was like a box, wasn't it, compared to what it is now?
There was a couple of little boxes. It started in Oxford Circus Way. The one that in fact, I first went to that one, but there was one closer to me. I used to live in Shoreditch, and I went to the one up there on Old Street, and it was tiny, but it was good.
Yeah,
a good vibe. And so I've been hanging around with Charlie ever since, or whoever, what is now the Manor.
Yeah.
It was Work It, rebranded, got bigger, and he and everyone else is good people.
Yeah, so do you not feel, I felt that way when I first walked into Manor, that there's a real fucking genuine vibe about everyone.
Yeah.
Like being in the fitness industry, I see it obviously more than you. It's like, it's all about how you look, how you carry yourself, being better than the other person. Manor's just literally about what the logo is, hard graft, good vibes, and everyone is fucking just genuine, man. I walked in there and I was like, yes, this is for me. Yeah,
it is definitely like that. I think it's been built up. Everything cascades down in different organisations. It's definitely so in the Manor. Charlie and everyone else that works there, they make sure that they cascade that down, that good work ethic across the board. All the clients, I think, get it. All the members. I've never had a bad session there. I think maybe there was one that Ryan ran one. It was Paul,
the yard sweeper. Yeah, I've heard these things.
I'm joking. It's all good. There's a great vibe. Everyone gets on. Even if you don't know people, you get to know people, and it's really cool. I think I go there and I sort of like put it out there every now and again that I'm there, and I think some people want to come. There's like not jealousy, but it's like a desire to come and see what it's like and be a part of it.
Yeah, especially that MCP vibes.
Yeah,
it's just different breed, isn't it? So you've known Charlie for a few years. Couple years now, right? Would you say Manor's the best gym you trained in? Would you say it's helped you a lot through your own journey? Because when you done that talk with us a little while ago, so you done a talk on teamwork and how to work together as an elite team, and you said it helped you quite a bit, didn't it?
The Manor did, yeah. I think it was the belonging that worked. I was starting to find myself anyway, but there was something that I needed, and it was definitely the culture that is the Manor, is the Manor, and the people there. There's a good camaraderie. There's a massive age range, and it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm a bit older than a few of the people, and yet that doesn't seem to be a problem. I can jump in with a session with anyone. Whether it's a couple of us or a big group. Yeah, it's always a crack. So yeah.
Do you know what I like about you? Other than like loads of things, but you know what I like about you? It's just when you're around the Manor, it's not your following, it's not what you've done for yourself or in your career, anything like that. You literally gel with anyone, even the clients. Like even today, that man with his son. Got speaking to him straight away, and you made sure you introduced yourself after, and it's like you've never let it define your character at all. This whole like fame thing or whatever, like being on the shows and stuff. You still, how I would imagine you would have been as a young lad going into the military and stuff? You're not changed at all, apart from obviously a shitload of experience. But
I don't know. I think I would say there's no right way to do what I've done, but I'm glad that I've done what I did before having a career in telly or doing whatever it is I'm doing, because I don't really know what I'm doing.
Let's talk about the military. You enlisted in '92, no?
Yeah.
92. Fucking hell. I was literally just being born.
Really?
Yeah, 92 I was born.
What have you got?
Remember when you said to me the other day, you said to me at the front, you goes, how old are you? I'm like 29. You went, fuck off. Yeah, premature greys.
What year were you born?
92.
Wow.
1992. Mad.
Wow.
Had my first grey at 16. Fuck you, Dad.
Brutal.
Yeah, I know, lethal. My son's got greys already. Swear, on my son's life, he has his first grey hair.
Mate, he's screwed.
Yeah, I know.
But,
but he's a trendy kid. He'll probably just dye his hair grey and be one of them cool kids.
Yeah, exactly.
What made you enlist, mate? Because there could have been loads of other things you've done. What made you think, right, fuck it, I'm going to do this?
I grew up, or the back end of my education and growing up was in Luton, and it wasn't tough, but it wasn't a great place to grow up if you were going to be academic.
Yeah.
I mean that's a bad thing to say, because there was people at my school that were good, but there was a predominant amount of us that were not good. That just mucked about.
But you kind of know the environment you're in, whether you're going to do well or not, surely.
Yeah, and I wasn't
Sometimes
academic.
You need to change.
I wasn't that clever. I wasn't academic, but I did enjoy a bit of sport. I did enjoy the outdoor life. I had been introduced to sport through my dad. He had taken it, or got us to a decent level where he used to do fitness training. I had a good dad, basically, good parents, and they sort of guided me a little bit, but I could feel myself falling off, the good path, because of where I was growing up and the friends that I was hanging around with. And so when I was 16 and I left school, or I finished school and I didn't have a grade to my name, I figured I need to do something, and the drive was to go into the military. And my dad had been in the Marines, a long time ago, and he left the year I was born, so I never remembered it, but I did remember a few stories that he told, and I thought, well, if I'm going to join the military, then I might as well join the Marines. That's where the bias came from. And so that was it. I joined up, not knowing an absolute. I didn't know fuck all.
Yeah, it must have been fucking scary, no?
Good question.
Or was it like a buzz at the beginning?
I was excited, but I think it was because I thought I was prepared, but I wasn't. Physically, I was okay. 16 years old, you can deal with anything. If you've done enough fitness, you've actually got a decent engine on you. You're mid to late teens. Mental might not be as strong as others.
Yeah. But you can just go. You've got engine.
You can bounce off stuff, and so I was in a good position there, because my old man had set me fitness regimes, schedules, all that sort of thing, and I'd been doing the right stuff, but I had not once paid any attention as to how to look after myself. And when it came to like washing clothes, ironing them, I was way behind the pack.
I fucking still struggle with
Right,
it.
yeah.
I swear to God. Washing up's the only thing I don't mind doing. Everything else I hate.
Yeah, it was. That was a huge shock to the system, and actually it is the hardest one, because that's what takes up all your time, and you don't get any sleep. And so I might have been good at phys, as in fitness, but when it came to recovery time, you don't get it, because you're too busy running around trying to sort your admin out, and so that's where you start to suffer. It creates this vicious cycle.
And what about the sleep deprivation shit? Did your
You get
higher rankings do that to you? Did you have to go through all that? But pretty much stuff you do on the show, did you have to go through all that?
in the recruit training you go through, the sleep depth comes when you go, because I mean it's 32 weeks long.
Yeah.
And you spend some time on camp doing lectures, loads of different things, loads of different presentations, you do like 3 or 4 lots of fitness a day, so you're getting rinsed on that. When the day finishes, the time sort of is your own, but that's where if you can't manage it, you're screwed. But it's when you go out in the field, so you'll do they'll ease you in gradually, and I can't remember how many field exercises you do throughout the 32 weeks, but let's say 10. and the first one's like a weekend. It's like 2 days, 1 night, and you think that's horrendous, you know. But then it builds up, and you're doing like, you know, probably about 5 to 7 days. I think it culminates the last one. The final exercise is 10 days, and that is you do suffer a little bit from sleep debt, because ultimately you never have a full night's sleep because you're always running a sentry routine when you're camped out. So you'll do an hour on sentry, then you'll go to bed, and then, you know, it might come round again depending on what time you were in, and it's always cold, wet and miserable. So yeah, you're sort of exposed to the elements, and you are dished out a little bit of sleep debt.
Yeah.
You sort of get used to it.
Just trying to function at the bare minimum, pretty much.
Yeah, they do a really good job of showing you that you can, if you really want to operate on little sleep.
You've got to fucking tap into
It's not ideal. I mean, I did the 2 command courses that I did. You saw the pictures upstairs. When you go in the field on those, you know, you're already like I'd been in the Marines over 10 years when I did my first command course. And you go on that, and they sleep dep you big time.
Oh, really?
Like because you're constantly doing planning in the field, then delivering orders, then going out on an action. You come back, replan orders, go out on another action. There's literally, I can remember the first 7 days with about 2 hours sleep.
Oh, and
it's brutal. You'll get like cat naps here and there, like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, just laid on the floor.
Just got to be alert for when they say.
You get like the first 24 hours. After that, you feel sick.
I bet.
And then after that, you're just like.
Even on the show, when you like, you know, when like the recruits are trying to get their nut down, and you like go right. I'd be like, I give up, man. Do you know? When I've watched the show before, I thought, fitness-wise, I reckon I could hold my own. But there was one season where you lot made the recruits try and sit up as straight as they can with their hands behind their back, and you had crying babies in the headphone for hours. That is the shit that would get me big time.
It's that normally gets people.
Yeah,
the sleep dep is what screws people up, really. It is, yeah, definitely. And that's what you have to get used to when you're when you're a recruit in training.
Yeah.
Is you'll go out into the field, and you've got to get used to being cold, wet most of the time. Like you get up in the morning, take your dry kit, because you're in your sleeping bag. Put your dry kit on. You get up, you take all your dry kit off, put that in the bottom of your Bergen rucksack, and then you get your wet kit out, and you put that back on. You've got your wet pants, and you're like that little 16-year-old waist trying to suck in, so you're not touching the wet cloth. Horrible. Well,
so you're obviously, if anyone who didn't know you, they'd see you and they'd think, fuck, he's a big lad, looks fearless. There must have been a time when shit got real and you had to get sent to Afghan and whatever other tours. Was there one time where you was thinking, have I made the right choice?
No.
You obviously did, because you fucking smashed it and you've done what you've done. But
so I'm definitely not fearless. I don't think anyone is fearless.
Yeah.
I think people are able to manage emotion. That's what I think I'm good at. I think I'm slowly getting all right at mastering and managing emotion. I will never say that I can get rid of an emotion, whether it's fear, anger, jealousy, anxiety towards whatever it might be. But I think I'm getting better at managing certain ones. Some of them still get the better of you.
Do you still remember flying up? Not actually doing whatever mission, but just going there and the feelings that were running through your head. Yeah.
So going back to, talking about emotions and that, but going back now to, going out to war. I can remember being on the aircraft, and I flew out. The one I'm remembering was Afghan, and I flew out on a C-17, which is a big transport aircraft. Recently you'd have seen them on TV trying to evacuate people.
Oh yes, yeah.
So you're flying in on one of them. There was hardly anyone in it. It was massive space. There's a few people inside, and you just fly in the cargo hold. And there's a couple of little windows, and I was peering out, looking at Afghan, and I was like, "Wow, it looks amazing from
up there."
But then you sort of like that. What's
waiting for me?
What's this? What's happening?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? And you feel anxious, but I don't remember feeling fearful. I was just keen.
Oh, what, back then?
Yeah.
How old was you when you first got sent out? On your first tour over there?
Mid 20s.
Fucking hell,
to late 20s.
I was just getting my life together.
Well, mate, I still haven't got my life together. Like, work-wise,
if I didn't have
Rowan,
fucking hell, I don't know what I'd be doing.
Work-wise, I was squared away, but life-wise, I was still a clusterfuck. Still am.
Yeah, fair
still
enough.
am.
I don't think we ever got out of it.
No.
Oh man, talk to me about. So I know I've done my research, and I think we've spoke about it in the talk. But you was discharged from the military, right?
Yeah, so did quite a few tours of operations. So basically, my military career upped the tempo upped obviously after 9/11 in 2001.
Yeah.
And then for the next 10 years, I spent most of that time going away, warfighting, coming back, resetting, going back out. As did all the lads that I was working with, you know. We all did these rotations, and after a while it took its toll. I think, if I'm honest, like, yeah, it did take its toll, but I'd been taught how to be a pretty good soldier. I trained hard, I paid attention, I got rank. I think I was good at it. I'd like to think I was good at it, and so that side of things was all right. But I was doing a stressful job.
Of course.
But then it was all the other stuff that built up, like home life.
I was going to get onto that, but it must have fucked it up. Like,
there was like, if you
for
look
everyone that does it, it must be hard going, like having to come see your family, and then you just got to go, like no matter what, it's part of your job.
That bit's alright. It's the dealing with, like, so if you think about what we're as people, we pick a career, or we've got a job and we know how to do it. We're trained to do it, or we're given instruction on it. Doesn't matter what it is. I was a soldier, and I was lucky enough to have a lot of training behind me. You do a lot of PT.
Yeah.
You know what you're talking about. You know, you train me on occasion. You know, it's sort of easy, innit? You just keep swatting up on what you need to know.
As long as you just touch up on what you need to know. Yeah, then you get it done.
When you look at life, you're never taught you're not taught fuck all about life at school. You're not taught about how to deal with your missus when she's having a meltdown, or your partner, whatever, you know, whether it's a geezer or a woman or whatever. You're not taught about how to deal with bills that you can't pay. You're not taught to deal with screaming kids. You're not taught to deal with ill kids. You're not taught to deal with pets that are playing up, cars that are breaking down, washing machines that don't work. It's that fucks you up.
And then going to have to fucking defend the nation.
Like, imagine, you know, work's drying up a bit, but you've still got that going on. It's always that noise that you never expect, that you never taught about, that basically is the one that fucks you, the blindsider. And that's ultimately that's what happened to me. I didn't know how to manage. I had so much going on, I didn't know how to manage it in my head, and ultimately I didn't think I had a problem. And even when there were indicators within me that stuff was changing, I didn't address it because I didn't want to. So, you know, marriage breaks down, I split up, I'm living on my own, I'm having, you know, I mean, not really in relationships, but just floating about, getting pissed, going out on none of it is conducive to a good headspace.
Yeah, the booze doesn't help at all, does it?
Yeah,
Fucking
and then
hell,
because I've got
10 times anxious.
Because everything's stressful, then I'm going out and dealing with work, which I'm trained to do, but I'm not. I haven't set myself up well to deal with that. So the trauma there is going to have a massive impact again on me, because I've already got trauma there, back here, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I was probably always going to, but I think there's a lot of lads actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know. Not all of them. There's some people that manage their lives very well and have got their heads squared at an early stage, which is good, but some guys burn themselves out because ultimately they are burning the candle at both ends.
Of course. Did you go therapy to help get you through it?
Not at first. I self-medicated by, whenever I came back, I was on the piss, meeting girls, losing myself in a hectic social life. I was having dramas with my ex and my daughter at the time. You know, always running away from shit probably, and then just literally itching to get out on the next tour, just to sort of
get away from everything.
It's black and white out there, whereas back home there's a lot of grey areas.
Yeah.
Then after a period of time, I'd done my last what was to be my last. Well, I didn't know it was my last tour at the time, and I came back and I was getting ready. You know, I had a period of time at home, getting ready to redeploy on another trip away, and I just remember not being excited about it, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I thought, right, I need to get myself excited again because I want to get that buzz back. So that's when I went and saw someone, and I wasn't really up for engaging. I just was like, went and saw like the professional that was on the base, and I was like, look, got this coming up, not feeling it, want to feel it, just surely you're going to say something that's going to make me be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go.
Just like like a light switch.
So it was like I wasn't really up for acknowledging what was going on.
Yeah.
And so I bullshit myself.
But then since then, how do you manage it? Because it's not like when you have these feelings, it's not really something you can kind of get rid of, right? Like you say, you just got to manage them.
No, I disagree. So I was in a place. I was in a dark place. I then, that conversation that I had, sort of grew, and the person I was talking to was like, look, you've got fucking PTSD, and you shouldn't be going away. And you need to spend some time now, and we need to spend some time working on you. So I was like, well, reluctant.
Yeah.
But eventually I was like, okay, fine, you're telling me that that's what needs doing. Signed off work, so I got signed off work, and then engaged in a load of therapy, and it just didn't really, we were just butting heads. I didn't engage with the person that was doing it, because I wasn't being honest with myself, mainly because I kept thinking, even though I was talking to them, I wasn't being inside my head, being honest with myself and going, oh, you have got an issue and you need to fucking pay attention. I was just like, yeah, go through the motions of talking to someone, and not really fixing
and just
anything,
hope it fixes itself, kind of thing.
Because I was still buried in that pit. Then I got discharged from the military because they said, look, this isn't working. What we think is going to work, or what we're telling you is going to work, is you leave the military, and then that is you. You're free. You're free of this stress. It's all good to go. So you leave the military, thinking that's going to be the case. And I left, and I was like, wow. I still feel, in fact, I feel worse.
Oh, really?
Now I'm not part of something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I miss that, and what's going on now?
Yeah, that's right. You said that in the talk, actually.
Yeah.
Like, you felt like you'd sort of left your team.
Yeah, and so I was then. Not only was I suffering from traumatic sort of exposure, I was and depression a little bit, but I was feeling lost, and so I had to go on this journey, and that's sort of, long story short, made a few life choices, moved away from a civilian job that was not good for me, and went on a journey to find shit, and found like a new calling, found new people, or old people that I hadn't seen for a long time, reconnected with them, and then slowly things started to slip into place, and I got myself into a place where I was like, right, okay, I need to spend more time in the now. The past I can't change. There's no point dwelling on it. All this low feeling of mood isn't going to help you. Yeah, the military stuff, that's not going to change, but why look at it negatively? So I don't, even though I remember stuff, I'm fucking shitting all over the place. Even though I remember stuff, I haven't got bad memories. I'm just like a little bit nostalgic. I'll be like, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was difficult. That was sad. But, I'm allowing myself to acknowledge those things, but I don't let those things take charge of me.
Of course, yeah.
So that's how I manage it. And then obviously, find all the people at the manor, and the manor itself, that is another good thing. Doing the work that I do is a good thing. Going on expeditions, again, gives me purpose every now and again, not all the time.
I wanted to speak to you about Rock to Recovery, actually. How did you get into that?
So that came about at the same sort of time. So I left the military because of, I got medically discharged for PTSD, and a mate of mine got discharged at the same time as me, pretty much, and he was at the same rank, and we didn't really know that because we were in different units at the time. Anyway, I can't even remember how we met up. Anyway, bumped into each other, I had a chat, we sort of like opened up a little bit, had a beer, and we were like, well, we feel like we've been a bit let down by the system. We weren't really, it was just, the system isn't able to cope with everything because there's too many people in the organisation for them to deal with it. They haven't got the headspace to do that. But at the time we felt a little bit let down, so we were like, maybe there's something we should do to fill that gap. We didn't know what it was, and we didn't know what we were going to do, but over time, at first Rock to Recovery was just me and Jamie going and talking to other ex-soldiers, and being like, well, we feel like this, if you feel like this, maybe you should. And then did
you get a lot opening up when you was doing it?
Yeah, we found we did. Yeah, we weren't too sure how it was going to be, and then it started to look like that was the case, and we're like, oh, it was all by accident. It was all like, oh, this is good. Maybe we should do more of this. And then, Jamie was on about finding your Rock to Recovery. He learned to play the guitar. I was starting to get into these expeds, and they were our rocks. So we were like, maybe we should help people find what their rock is. And then we found some people that were good coaches, so they came on board as the intervention, so they could talk to people,
Amazing.
help them out. And then it's just grown, and it's all thanks to Jamie. You know, I just gob off about it, but he's the workhorse. And there's a lot of other workhorses now behind it that drive the organisation.
But you're also doing something separate as well. You put something up recently about the app, the Pocket app.
Well, it is separate to Rocks Recovery, but so the Mentor 360 thing, again, how it came about, the link is from the military, because the guy that is the founder of that is probably my best mate, one of.
I thought I was your best mate.
Well, yeah, the one of.
Oh, one of, yeah, okay. Yeah. Just so we can square that out.
Shit.
We just done hot pod yoga and everything.
We did.
Shames me like that.
We'll come to hot pod yoga in a minute. But yeah, Bertie, he set up Mentor 360, and that was born from knowing me and listening to my journey, because he was living it with me, although not knowingly until I started to talk about it. Actually, his dad committed suicide when he was 15, so he has a vested interest in mental health, and his stepson as well. His stepson, who's in his mid-20s, has had a little bit of a rocky ride as well with direction and whatnot. So he decided to create this app, and I helped him out in the beginning phases to find money to do that. But he is the workhorse behind it. But Mentor 360 is, I'm not being biased, but it sounds like I am, but it's probably the best mental health app out there. But it's new, so there's always room for improvement. There's always things we can do better. But if people download it, have a look, give us feedback.
That wasn't a plug. I want to plug it. I want to plug it. So what is it again?
Mentor 360, found on the App Store or Android Store.
Download that now. I'm plugging it. Right. So let's get back to the hot pod yoga story.
Hang on.
Go on.
No, so yeah, we finished. What did we do? We did Mentor 360.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the mental health side of things, it's all mega important. I think it's a big conversation we should be having. We talk about it a lot at the gym, don't we?
Massively. And it's a stigma you have to fucking break. It's hard, because obviously men are conditioned to think that they shouldn't be weak, and asking for help's a weakness, and it's fucking bollocks, man. And it is a hard stigma to break, and that's why the numbers are so different between female and males when it comes to suicide. It's like, and it's not taking it away from female suicide, it's just maybe they're just better at asking for help than we are.
They're better at talking.
That's
the key.
And
you don't even need to ask for help, you just need to talk.
Yeah. And I find that, obviously, I'm a bit younger than you, but I found that even my dad and that generation before me was very much like, don't worry about it. That's the advice you would get from them. And that's not them dealing with their problems either. So it's kind of shuttled down, and it's like you get, don't worry about it. Things will get better. It's like, well, I need to hear more than that, or I need a different path of dealing with things, because that's not fucking working for me.
I think some of it, do you know what? I think a lot of it is that you should take a bit from each sort of generation, because the key to getting over trauma or negative emotions or negative things that have happened in your life is to talk about it, which people have said we don't do and we shouldn't do. You know, that's an old school way of thinking about it. But then ultimately, we do need to adopt a little bit of the grit and determination, because ultimately just talking about something isn't going to fix it. It helps, but you still need to dig deep within yourself to get over trauma, and you have to dig deep within yourself to get over hardship. So there is an element of the old, stoic approach that is needed. But so I'm not giving anyone a get out of jail free card by saying, "Oh, just go and talk about all your issues," because it isn't that easy. Life is tough. Talk about your issues. Be open. Be honest with yourself. More importantly than anything else. But make sure you've got some grit inside yourself, because it ain't easy digging yourself out of holes.
Would you say training helped you massively?
Training was a big key to it, yeah. I mean, when it comes to training, let's get on to the training thing. Yeah. I get bored easy.
Do you?
I have to.
As in what? With the way you train?
As in, I can't go to the. I couldn't go to the gym and just do like
a bodybuilding session.
Yeah.
Like I fell out of that. I used to do bodybuilding. You'd do a whole day doing chest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could never go back to that.
I used to do
boring
that.
As fuck.
and I just couldn't imagine anything worse now. I really need to vary it. So don't get me wrong, I could do a day dedicated to old school lifting, but the next day I'll have to do something different, and the next day something different to that, and the next day maybe the same but then go back to something different.
Yeah.
Like today,
because we would have had a mad one if it weren't for hot pod yoga, so we kind of kept it to strictly lifting, didn't we?
Yeah, so for anyone that didn't know, we decided that we were going to do something out of the norm for us today, which was the first one wasn't out of the norm, but on Saturday we came and did a sesh together.
In, smashed out a sesh.
And then earlier on in the week we're like, we'll bolt onto that sesh a hot pod yoga.
That was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life.
It was, but it would have been a lot harder even though Callum knew that we were doing this hot pod yoga, he sent me a workout this morning on WhatsApp, and I was like, there's no fucking way we're doing that.
I've never done it, so I don't know what to prepare
for. I've never done hot pod yoga, but I had heard enough rumours to know that we shouldn't be doing laps of the yard, bench and ski erg all in one go.
When Charlie messaged me, he was like, "You lot are going to suffer in there." I was like, "Fuck that."
We still did a spicy lifting sesh, which was good. Callum programmed it. Right. It was good.
Old school upper body.
Yeah, there's a bit of lower.
We done some trap bar deads, a few squats.
Did lower, but so we did the lifting sesh, and then we had a bit of time, 45 minutes, just to chill, stretch off.
Vegged out a little bit. Saw Ryan teach.
Spend a bit of time on Insta.
Saw Ryan teach. It was very below average.
Yeah, and then we had that wander over to. It was only literally a 10-minute walk from the Manor to hot pod yoga. Bolt.
What was it?
No, mate. What's the? Massively fluffed it here.
What, the road?
No. What's the part of London we're in?
Victoria.
Not Victoria. Belgravia.
Okay.
So it's called Hot Pod Yoga at Belgravia. Just for anyone that was interested. Didn't really know what we were letting ourselves in for.
It was all chilled vibes when you walked in, wasn't it?
Yeah, got a quick brief, picked up our mat, picked up our towel, laid it down in the pod, which was warm.
Oh, it's effectively a huge tent. With about 50 tent. Heaters in there.
Yeah, 50 Dysons blowing out 100-degree heat. You sort of get in there at first and lie down and...
You sort of think, what's this all about? It's not as hot as everything.
Too bad, yeah. Then the old instructor comes in, Isabel _ Tara, zips up the pod, and then taken to another world. She gradually moves you through a process of moves into, and if anyone's done yoga, you'll know this one, but it was new to me, into the downward dog, which seemed to be our reset default position.
Even there, I was suffering.
And every time I was in the downward dog, I was looking down at my chest and I could see the neck bit of my t-shirt hanging, and the sweat weren't dripping, it was pouring off it.
Yeah, it was bad.
And every now and again I'd take a quick glance round and there's all these nimble females in there, and not one of them had an ounce of sweat on them. Unbelievable.
Even when they come out, me and you were just leaving a puddle, walking over to our shoes, and I'm like,
it's sort of shocked our system, isn't it? Because I'm still a bit dangling now.
On the train was funny, we barely said a fucking word to each other. We just looked over each other, laughed, and went, alright, I'll see you in a minute.
On the tube was ridiculous. I was hanging onto the handholds, and you were leaning against the post, and every now and then I couldn't talk.
I was like, have a coffee when I get to yours, please. I'm fucking fried. But it was good. You probably would go back. You said you want to go back there.
I might try.
Put it in the routine a couple of times a month or something.
When I'm around, I'll try and do it once a week to 2 times a month. Nothing more than that.
I'm not going to lie on camera. That's probably me done. One and done for me. I was in a dark place halfway through. I was looking round and I thought, why is it just me suffering? I'm on my knees.
You weren't. I was with you.
Panting.
But I want to do it a few more times just to see if there is benefit. I think there definitely is. I've never done yoga before, so that was an insight.
Oh yeah, I felt flexy while I was in there. I doubt I'd be able to get into them same positions coming out of there. But oh man, it was the embarrassment that kept me in there. I thought I'm not walking past you and 12 or 13 women saying, let me out, undo that fucking tent, undo
that's
the tent.
The thing, it wasn't like you could have slipped out the back door. You've got to walk right to the front where the opening is, that you have to unzip with the loudest zip in the world, deliberately made probably.
Yeah, just so everyone's
just like that.
Fucking loser.
And you're letting in the cool air, so everyone's like getting they're basically getting seen off.
Oh mate, terrible.
It was good though. It was a good thing to do. Yeah. Always good to take yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. take the message there.
Yeah.
Where did I want to go from here? I did want to ask you something about. Oh yes, going on to the show. I know everyone would. That'd be the first thing people talk to you about. The SAS Who Dares Wins. I'm not really bothered about how you recruit the actual recruits. How did you guys got selected? I've always wondered that. And did you work with the people you're?
Yeah.
Oh, you have done missions with them before, and say missions like.
So basically, I mean, I wouldn't even be able to tell you how they recruit the recruits because that's not our bag. They've got someone called a casting producer or producers that deal with all that. And they actually like to keep us well out of it, but.
Oh, so it's not like going off your credentials or.
No, they do their own. I don't know. There's fitness tests. There's interviews, fill out forms, all that sort of thing. But for us, it was for them back in the day. It was an experiment and a wild stab in the dark. So they were just reaching out to people that they might know someone in the special forces. But mine was a bit different. So we all got approached pretty much separately to a certain degree. So how I came on board was I got involved, did a job for TV where I was the safety guy out in a dodgy part of the world. I was also the underwater cameraman's dive buddy. Did a good job out there for a month's job. Came back wondering what my next job was, but someone that was on that shoot then found himself part of this meeting with Channel 4 about this show that they didn't know what it was going to be called. And the channel were like, love the sound of this, yep, we're going to commission it, but where the fuck are you going to find these Special Forces guys or ex-Special Forces guys? And this one guy was like, I've just been in Madagascar with this geezer, we should probably phone him, me.
Yeah.
So I got a phone call asking if I wanted to be on telly. The conversation was longer than that. But I was like, oh, I don't know about that. And it took me a good 2 weeks to deliver.
I can imagine that if you're not used to it and being on camera in front of everyone, it must be hard, no?
Well, I didn't even know what it would be like. But I was deliberating for a long time, and then I was like, do you know what? I don't know what my next job is. I'm skint. No one else is helping me out. The military aren't helping me out. So
I'll get round to that after actually.
So and if I don't do it, someone else will do it. And at least I know how I'm gonna project myself. So yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. But then they were like still short of someone. I said, oh, I've got a mate, Ollie, got them to meet Ollie, and they loved it, and that was that. And I knew vaguely he was in a different squadron to me, but we were in the same unit. And Billy I knew of and had worked with him, but I was a lower ranking guy at the time. He's got a good reputation in the special forces. So we've all, somewhere along the line, there is something that gels us together. I would say I'm probably the intermediary. My timeline spanned long enough that it caught a bit of a Billy's time, bit of Ollie's time, and also Ant's. So it was crossover either end of my service, whether it was beginning or end.
Did you think the show would grow to that height?
No.
Really?
I just thought it was going to be a one-off military show that everyone thought, oh yeah, it's good to watch.
Because even the people that have won, they've done really well for themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who've gone on to do good things, and
I always think, do you stay in touch with them?
I do, little bits.
If they make the effort, sort of thing, will you stay in touch?
Yeah, I try to make the effort. It is difficult because everyone then, everyone's got their lives and you've got your life, but yeah, there's a few people I've stayed in touch with through social media and that. There's some that I keep thinking to myself, right, do you know what, I need to reach out again.
Yeah. So they haven't got this type of friendship?
No, not close like us. Don't worry, you're safe.
Just get a bit insecure about it when you speak about other people like that. I mean, who else do you invite to your... Well, I don't know if this is his house. I was actually picked up in a black van, blindfolded. This could be his front room. It could be a fucking warehouse out in the sticks. But so you said about the military, about the pay. Was the pay awful? I only asked that because a friend of mine who was just infantry, every time he used to come back, he'd be like, I'm fucking skint.
No, when I meant the pay there, I meant the pay in the special forces is better as an incentive. You get special forces pay. You joke when you finish selection. You joke that you're on pop stars wages because it's a considerable amount more compared to what you were in the conventional military. But what I was meaning when I said when I was outside when I left was once you leave, you leave. There's no retaining pay. I had a pension because I'd done enough time to get a pension, but it's very minimal. And I'd left with PTSD. all the jobs that my career, 20-year career, would lend itself to, I couldn't have. So like a job in the police, firearms, fire, paramedic, big security jobs abroad, I couldn't do because on paper I had an underlying mental health issue.
Yeah.
And so there was nothing I could do, and I wasn't earning money like I should have been, and there was no jobs that essentially it's like doing a 20-year degree and then not being able to use that qualification. And I was like, I am fucked. I was living on my mate thankfully I had a couple of mates that allowed me to live with them at the time.
Well, if you're ever struggling again, mate, I'm down by Maidavale. I've got a sofa for you. Corner sofa. You might fit on there.
I'll give you a shout.
Yeah, just let me know.
But no, yeah, and that was the conversation I had with myself. I'm like, well, the military are not going to like me doing this TV show, even though it is a bit of fun. But ultimately, they ain't fucking bailing me out of the shit.
Yeah.
So I've got to look after. For once, I was like, I need to look after number one here.
Too right.
So that's why I did it, and hopefully, I've always made sure and maintained the way I project myself is done in a way that doesn't bring poor light to where I've come from.
Yeah.
I hope.
No, not at all.
So yeah, that's it. That's my reasons for doing the show. But then it's morphed now because I fucking love it.
Fair.
It's good crap.
Here's one question I want to ask you actually. If you could, no limit at all, what would you do different? Military weren't involved. You didn't go to the military. Nothing to do with that. You have the choice to do anything in your life different. What route would you like to go down? Anything. Movies, whatever.
I'd do the same.
Would you?
Yeah.
Really?
I'd do the same. I'd just make sure that my younger self knew that if ever there was a difficult time, that I should probably talk about it afterwards. Earlier than I would have done. But I wouldn't do anything different. 100%.
I love that. That's good. Alright, well, last thing I like to ask to end every episode.
Good. Looking forward to it.
What is your definition of happiness?
Right, okay. So I strive to be happy. That's my goal in life is to have a good time. It is to enjoy life. But what does that mean? And for me, happiness is living in the now, enjoying the real time.
Yeah.
The only real time is right now. This second.
With your best mate.
With your best mate.
Yeah.
But and it doesn't matter whether you're having a bad time or a good time. You're having a good life if you're living in the now and not worrying about the past and not worrying about the future, because that's wasted energy. Yeah. That's stress. The now, like this second, I'm with you. I'm enjoying this.
Good.
I mean, I might be lying. I could be not enjoying it, but ultimately,
I'll take it anyway.
I'm still leading a good life because I'm present in the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's too many. And I've done it, and I sometimes will continue to do it. But there's too many times where
Always.
But the point is, the bit that I don't get with that is, you're worried about something that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But it might not ever happen.
I know. And this is what's caused my anxiety in the past. I'm like, am I doing well enough? What am I going to leave for my son? There's questions that are fucking dumb, but it just cripples you when you go too much into it.
For anyone that is feeling like that, it takes a lot of hard work to get away from that way of thinking. But you've got to persevere, and when you do, all of a sudden, because I used to, there will be a break, and you're like,
enjoying this.
You're like, do you know what? I'll work hard. I'll do what I can. I'll enjoy my life. And I'm not going to worry about the future, but I'll do everything that I possibly can now to make that all right, and I'll try and make some good decisions along the way, but don't worry about the future.
Amazing. Foxy.
Nice
fucking
one,
wicked having you on, mate. Legend.
No, nice one. Yeah,
we should
been a good day.
Yeah, it has been a good day. Yeah, best day out. All right, Ledge.
Cool, mate. Thanks for having me.
See you on the next one.
Yeah, nice one.
Okay.
See you, man. Bye, everyone.